Hello, this is Sinister Gambino here with a new video. And in this video I'm going to be doing a review and guide on the Kraken Avisa, as well as the RUNE Kosatka. So starting off, for the price of the Kraken Avisa, it's $1,145,000. Reason the price isn't like normally shown in game on there is because I already own the vehicle, so therefore I can't really select it again. And for comparison's sakes, I believe it's only like 220,000 more than the like other purchasable submarine of its type, being the Kraken or something. But yeah, if you're a returning player, I believe you do get that one for free. However, so it's kind of not really a fair comparison. And for performance of the vehicle, the Kraken Avisa is 17th out of 18th place for lap time for the boats class, and then for top speed it's actually the worst of the boats class, which dethrones the tug as the worst, so now this is the new worst. And for actual like for the proper like time and like miles per hour and stuff, for the Buffy 1322. And in the clip right before this clip, I wanted to show like how good the vehicle does in terms of verticality, going up and down different depths. And then I just showed all the different like options for the interaction menu that the particular vehicle has, of course. Next, I actually wanted to do some like bullet resistant tests kind of for the Kraken Avisa. I know that sounds pretty crazy, obviously, because obviously the vehicle doesn't have any explosive resistance, but it's a very fragile vehicle, and I really wanted to show that off in a few different like circumstances and stuff. I do show off like one explosive weapon, but it's only to show off like the cooldown of the vehicle. But yeah, starting off with the advanced rifle, surely any other like assault rifle. I believe it took 135 around there to destroy the vehicle entirely, but before that it does get disabled, as I'll mention later. For Up-N-Atomizer, I believe I did shoot it 7 times, like I shot the Up-N-Atomizer 7 times, but I think one of my shots missed, so 6 destroys it. Also be worried with Up-N-Atomizer if for some reason you're in a situation where someone might shoot at you with an Up-N-Atomizer in the vehicle, because it can be flipped into the ocean, even with 4 to 6 shots. And yeah, military rifle was able to disable the vehicle in like 85 to 90 shots. I think advanced rifle did as well, obviously. Going back to minigun, actually that one was also like 200. And yeah, I showed off explosive sniper, just showed there's no cooldown on the vehicle for respawning, whereas the Sparrow has like a 2-minute cooldown. Finally, before I go into the pros and cons list, which I'll actually be doing both pros and cons lists at the end of this video, so for pros and cons on the Kraken Avisa, refer to like the end of this video. The first money opportunity I feel that was really worth mentioning is the hidden caches. I didn't really show off the money opportunities I could do with most of the vehicles, because like it's such a horrible top speed vehicle and stuff, plus I already have a lot to show with the Kosatka when it comes to making money with stuff I actually show off. But yeah, hidden caches, main strategy of course, use the point of interest feature to have like permanent markers for the hidden cache instead of rely on the game to show them like temporarily at certain moments. And then there's the VIP challenges. I didn't really show it off, obviously, like the title of it, because there wasn't enough players in my organization, but there's one called Salvage, which lets you collect like underwater checkpoints. That can definitely be a pretty nice one, but just use the Scuba suit, I'd say, on that one. And yeah, obviously it's onto the Kosatka now. Onto the price of the Kosatka, it ranges from like 2.2 to $9.085 million, depending on your upgrades and all that. 2.2 being just the basic Kosatka itself. And then for modifications, obviously there's the purely cosmetic color and flag. There's sonar station, which I believe is 1.2 million. I believe you actually need that for other vehicles, by the way. You need to actually purchase that, not just for the actual Kosatka, even though it might seem like that, but I believe that's how you unlock at least the Avisa's sonar. I believe you have to purchase that upgrade to get sonar for the Avisa as well. Not sure about the Toreador, which I think is the only other vehicle with sonar. And then guided missiles. That's basically like a trail bug kind of missile, but like remote controlled and stuff like that. And then weapon workshop. Weapon workshop is on like pretty much every single command center kind of vehicle, which is obviously like getting into like huge like kind of property war stock kind of vehicles in the game, which obviously is like the 4th one now. So yeah, obviously like all the other ones, it has a weapon workshop. Personally, for weapon workshop, I would kind of go with the arcade. The arcade actually has a free complimentary weapon workshop if you have an active like Diamond Casino Heist, as long as you have your like gunman chosen apparently, and that's how you get that one for free. So you don't have to pay for that one. That's like the only free like complimentary one. And personally, I think it's kind of the most useless property for a weapon workshop, because honestly, you won't really be having to use Mark II weapons, because it's so easy to do the heist setups and all that stuff. And from there, I'm pretty sure it's just like the moonpool vehicles, obviously the Avisas in this review as well, but Sparrow, not going to mention too much on that one yet for certain reasons, of course, but yeah. That's an absolute must. I'd say that's honestly the best investment for the renovations in the Kosatka. That alone can make you tons of money in addition to the one like very good money opportunity that the Kosatka provides. And then first off, it shows off like snacks, weapon locker. Those are things you get for the property. Snacks, again, kind of like the weapon locker, really isn't all that useful, to be honest, I'd say. So if you're doing the heist efficiently enough, you shouldn't really be taking damage if you're doing it like stealth and stuff. Obviously in preps, obviously, but snacks really aren't that important. And yeah, weapon locker. There's a lot of like complimentary weapon lockers in the game at this point. Ever since like the nightclub, there's been a lot of like complimentary weapon lockers in the game. Like older properties where you have to pay for it. And there's like 7 different like weapon spawns. And then there's actually security cameras, which is very good if you want to go like AFK and stuff in the property. So you don't have to like go to your nightclub or even your like arcade anymore. So it's another really good thing that makes this probably one of the best like spawn properties in the game. I think that goes on to my like last 5-second like screenshot there before like this video clip of like the fast travel and stuff. I believe one of the like 5-second screenshot things I showed off was the ability to spawn into Kosatka. For a command center, that's actually very unique. Makes it similar to the yacht where you can spawn in the yacht. I think it's the only command center slash like usable vehicle you can like spawn in now. So that, among other regions, makes it like some of the best properties in the game. And yeah, there's like 12 different things of fast travel. Definitely the most useful one would definitely be Vespucci Beach, since I always use like guided missiles throughout the whole city pretty much. As well, that's where a lot of like prep missions take place. Then here it kind of show off like the torpedoes, which is definitely its most useless weapon, I'd say. Really won't be useful against actual like other Kosatkas. And maybe like the Stromberg and the Toreador and stuff like that as well. But from what I hear, you can't even lock onto vehicles like you can with the like torpedoes on other submarine vehicles. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. But yeah, still like the most useless weapon it has personally. Now that the barrage of like 5-second clips in the review and guide is over, the performance for the vehicle for lap time for the Kosatka is actually 14th place, being the best of all the submarines in the game. And then for top speed, it's 12th place for the boats class. And again, that's better than all the other submarines in the game. I know it's all like huge and bulky and stuff, but it's actually the best performing of the submarines for both lap time and top speed. And I'm pretty sure right after showing off the like performance clip again, I went over like the Periscope. There's something very important I think I kind of forgot to show, and it was like the good verticality and like vertical range of the Periscope. I think I saw from like Gilly Master, so shout out to him, that it goes to like 85 degrees. I believe it can go like 85 degrees vertically. And that's pretty unique actually, the fact that it can go like fully vertical for like a lock-on missile, though at the same time as seeing you do have to have like a full-on like lock-on with the weapon. Then now is the guided missile. Guided missile, apparently its range is 4,000 meters. I definitely am willing to believe that one for sure. For example, I believe I was in Vespucci Beach, and I went all the way to the Landak, like, reservoir dam or whatever. So yeah, I was able to go all the way over to, like, the dam over there. And then thermal vision, you can actually use thermal vision with it. I believe I saw that from Project Homosexuality, who has a very good three-part, like, PvP guide. And for those who don't know, the, like, two different guided missiles actually have, like, separate cooldowns, so it's very friendly for solo players particularly, which I was personally not expecting. And then onto the explosive resistant test. I believe it took 9 explosive sniper rounds from my experience. Now the armor on this vehicle I think can be very finicky. I believe it has that, like, same armor bug like the Avenger has. I think the Avenger has a bug that makes it where, like, the armor might be, like, non-existent at times. Like, literally there's times where the Avenger can't even survive a single explosive because of, like, a bug that's been in the game since its initial release. RPG, it looked like 4. But yeah, I'm just going to go over my numbers pretty much. I don't know how good the, like, explosive sniper and RPG numbers line up with, like, what other people got. I don't think this has that type of armor where if someone's inside the vehicle it makes a difference. At least when it comes to homing launchers. I think I heard homing launchers is typically 12, and that is what I got with the homing launcher. Minigun, I think it was like 1,200 bullets. And then here, going to the homing launcher thing again, I believe I did get 12, which I believe is the average that people do get. Though again, I think there is the armor glitch, just like with the Avenger, unfortunately. So there might be times where it doesn't even take a single explosive. At least that's from what I've heard. While waiting for the footage here to catch up to the next clip, the, like, first couple, like, spawning options and stuff like that for, like, the services tab for the Kosatka is obviously that you can request a Kosatka. I believe I actually do show it off in this clip. It actually does not have a cooldown. I think I did destroy it within, like, the first minute or 2. I would imagine it might be more of, like, a 5-minute cooldown similar to, like, personal aircrafts in the game. But yeah, there's the ability to request Kosatka. Obviously you can also request moonpool vehicles, Sparrow and the Avisa. There's a couple other moonpool vehicles I'll be showing later. You can even request a dinghy, which is pretty nice actually. Can actually be very helpful in very particular circumstances. There's a bunch of return options, access options, and yeah, you can do, like, passengers, everyone, crew, friends, and all that stuff. Empty options, and then obviously there's, like, the scuba gear. Don't think you can apply it, like, right from that menu. That might just be the scuba gear, like, color or whatever you equip inside the actual submarine. Which basically the scuba gear is in, like, different moonpool areas, or close to it at least. But yeah, there's the, like, vehicle bay. I can store either a Stromberg or a Toreador. So you can have them in different properties. Obviously, Strombergs exist since Doomsday Heist. So if you want to get more use out of your Stromberg, it might be kind of worth actually putting it in the submarine, because Toreador has rocket boost and stuff, so sure it's just a more useful Stromberg. But yeah, that fits either a Stromberg or a Toreador, whichever one of you're choosing. You can't do both, sadly, though. But yeah, last but not least, I'll be going into the Periscope list. And first money opportunity I wanted to do with the Kosatka is Headhunter. Keep in mind, I just talked about money opportunities for the Avisa. I didn't actually, like, show it off, like, in video form or anything. Because, like, it's probably already going to be long enough, especially also going into Periscope list. So I decided to opt out of showing, like, actual gameplay of the couple money opportunities I suggest for the Avisa. Finally, onto the pros and cons list for the Kraken Avisa. And then, of course, I'll be doing the RUNE Kosatka pro and cons as well. Before doing that, how does this vehicle, the RUNE Kosatka, do in Headhunter? Personally, it didn't really do that great, to be honest, but I can't really think of much other money opportunities that I didn't already, like, mention with the Avisa that the, like, Kosatka would do much better in, aside for obviously the heist. I decided to include the heist as well, and hopefully there should be footage of that. Not going to show the finale because my finale sadly did not go good. I haven't done it in like a month or whatever before doing the footage I did. So I was a bit rusty on the finale sadly, so I opted out of the finale. So it's just going to be like prepping like setup stuff. Though if it needs to go for long enough, of course, that should be in the video for footage for the like approach vehicle mission for the Kosatka for the like signal jammer or whatever, where I do actually use it for that. Obviously, aside for like fast travel uses and stuff. But yeah, it didn't do very good. The Kosatka with Headhunter because you have to use the guided missiles, obviously, because that's really the only thing it has for Headhunter. And yeah, those are really hard to aim with. I believe from what I hear, actually on PC, the like turning radius isn't as good because yeah, keyboard and mouse advantages I suppose are a thing, obviously. But I was still able to get 2 targets conveniently. I was able to get 1 target and that was a ground target and 1 that was a vehicle target. So I have proven that technically it is possible to do a whole entire headhunter with the vehicle. Also, I should mention, but it was my first time using like the guided missiles, whatever. I haven't really used them much before until the review and guide. So literally I only used it in the process of like making the review and guide. I didn't really have any reason to use them before. So yeah, I'm probably not the most skilled with them, but yeah. I killed a ground target and a vehicle target, so at least the ground targets, as long as you like memorize like the different spawn locations and stuff for where the target spawns. For ground targets, it should be pretty easy to hit, as long as it's not a really crowded area. And obviously the vehicles probably takes like 2 to 3, so it kind of sucks for vehicles because you do have to use at least a couple, I'm pretty sure. Plus you might need to like take advantage of like the traffic as well, so you can kind of get like a chain reaction against the vehicle going as well, if applicable. So yeah, there's a lot of different like variables have to deal with it. So yeah, long story short, not very good at Headhunter, but it's gotta be possible. I'm certain it's possible to do a whole Headhunter with this vehicle. Difficult, but definitely possible. But yeah. For the Avisa, I only came up with 5 pros for the Avisa, and the Kraken Avisa for the vehicle, obviously I went over. I definitely came up with more cons than I did pros. But yeah, first pro for the Kraken Avisa I put is it's a 4-seater, which is great for a submarine. It's actually the first submarine, obviously, aside for the Kosatka, that can fit at minimum 4 players. Kosatka, obviously, it doesn't have any like physical seat limitations technically. You can invite players into your Kosatka, which I don't think I mentioned yet. So yeah, since you can invite players into the Kosatka, it's not really limited in that kind of regard. So it could probably fit a whole entire session if you can get like all the people of a session and get into your Kosatka. Or there might be some like very not so obvious like limit to that. Still, I could imagine a whole lobby could possibly fit in that one, but yeah. Still, for a traditional submarine, Avisa being a 4-seater is very great. Second pro for the Avisa is it has decent verticality. Again, I put in parentheses for a submarine. And yeah, I don't know if I could really like say that's one for the Kosatka as well. I say at least for the Avisa as decent verticality. Kinda wouldn't say the same for the Kosatka for sure. Third pro I have for the Avisa is it has no cooldowns, as I showed when using the explosive sniper. Fourth pro I have for it is it has sonar capabilities, which reveals hidden caches, which I showed off when going over like the first money opportunity that I said the vehicle was good for. Since yeah. The submarine, of course, submarines aren't very good for making money, obviously, like, by themselves and stuff, or at least in free mode. Kosatka is kind of an exception, because in certain cases it's good for the Cayo Perico Heist, and you need it, obviously, to host the heist. But yeah. Next pro I have, which is actually the final pro I have for the Kraken Avisa, is it can be protected from some threats underwater. That's something I didn't really mention yet in the review and guide, is that if you go underwater, obviously you can be heavily protected from most threats. Like RPGs, like the Up-N-Atomizer, I know like bombs from like aircrafts. Those can't really go like beyond water. I think bullet weapons, at least most bullet weapons, can actually go through water. So you kind of gotta worry about bullet weapons in the slightest. But yeah, going in water, you can avoid some threats with the Avisa. I put a better one for the Kosatka, I'll be mentioning later on, because it does have a certain feature underwater that I didn't mention specifically, but did pop up on one of the clips. And for the Avisa, I believe I came up with 11 cons. First con is that it's expensive for what you get. As I showed with the vehicle, going over like the money opportunities, it's basically like VIP challenges and like a daily collectible. The hidden caches only gets you up to 75,000 a day. So yeah, the price of the Avisa is not really worth it for what it does and all that. Like seriously, 1.5 million for just the lowest submarine, even if it's like a 4-door and it has sonar capabilities. I definitely don't think that's really worth it. Probably should have been less. Probably under $1 million, somewhere around there. At least. Or at most, I'd say. Second con I have is it has no customizations, and I put in parentheses like the Sparrow. Again, I'm not going into the Sparrow too much for very certain particular reasons and stuff. But yeah, Sparrow actually has customizations, whereas the Avisa does not. Only has like 2 customizations, but still better than nothing, obviously. Like they really missed the mark on the Cayo Perico Heist update. I feel they really could have tried to implement like watercraft customizations for like boats and submarines and stuff. I feel having like a mod shop kind of thing, like if you have like the boats next to the submarine for the Kosatka, could have been really cool. Or obviously in the case of the Avisa just being inside, having an option to customize it would have been nice. Maybe give it like engine upgrades so then it could actually turn into the fastest submarine. Since it really doesn't need to be the slowest submarine, just because it's a 4-door, it could have made it the fastest, yet still had 4 seats, it wouldn't have been broken or anything. Next con I have for the Avisa is it's the worst performing submarine. It was 17th place lap time and 18th aka worst for the boat class and top speed, which it dethroned the Tug as worst for top speed, so now the Tug is no longer the worst top speed boat in the game. And again, they really should have added customization, so it could have at least been not the worst submarine in my opinion. But oh well. Next con I have is it has a unique blip. Something I don't think I really mentioned actually yet. The Avisa actually has a unique blip so people will know what you're inside of. And I don't think this is the case for the submersible or the Day 1 submarine, and then like the submarine that came out with the PS4 and Xbox One and PC versions getting released. That returning players get for free instead of like paying 1.3 mil for it or whatever. That submarine even I don't think has a unique blip either, the Kraken, whatever. Next con I have is it's very fragile. I'll be honest, I didn't like expect any different, but obviously some things are obvious. You still have to put it as like a con anyways. But just because something's obvious doesn't mean I'm not going to bring it up. Next con I have is it can be flipped over by the Up-N-Atomizer. Yeah, another very obvious one. Though I was kind of surprised at how effective the Up-N-Atomizer is. I didn't get like video footage of it. Unfortunately, when I flipped it over, it was when I was doing like a practice, like thing of footage or whatever, not for the actual reviewing guide, just to test out whatever. But yeah, Up-N-Atomizer is a very huge weakness for the vehicle. Not that you're probably really going to be using it anyways, but still, it's a con nevertheless. Next con I have is it can be disabled very easily. And I actually kind of showed it twice, even though I really only meant to show it once, but it only takes like 85 to 90 like rifle bullets to like disable the Avisa. And that's pretty pathetic that not even 3 digits of bullets actually disable a vehicle. Like not even 90 and then the vehicle just straight up gets disabled. I think I removed the footage from the review, but I was still able to go inside it, but like the controls were so bad it couldn't really do much of anything. So yeah, when the minimap icon disappeared, I could actually still go in it. It just really was practically useless, even more than it already was at that point. But yeah, next con I have is it's very exposed to gunfire, and by that obviously I mean like all the glass. Has all kinds of glass, I think even more so than all the other submarines in the game. Even the submersible and like the Kraken, they don't have like glass on the like sides of the vehicle. I think the Avisa obviously has like glass for the like doors and all even. Like maybe that's how they had to do it to make it like 4-seater and stuff. But still, that's a disadvantage it has over all the other submarines. Not that I'm surprised at all, obviously, but still, it's a con nevertheless. Next con I have for the Avisa is it cannot be used in tangent with the Sparrow. Like, I know this one's not too bad, obviously. Like, why would you really need to use the Sparrow and the Avisa at the same time? Unless for some reason you really wanted to make a little quick check on, like, the hidden packages and hidden caches, I mean. But yeah. Do that with like a Toreador, which you can spawn alongside the Sparrow anyways. Or obviously you can just go back to your like submarine. But yeah, next con I have is it has no weaponry. I can feel what it could have at least given the vehicle torpedoes. Obviously I wouldn't have expected a Periscope or guided missiles on a miniature submarine. But like the torpedoes in the game weren't even all that useful in like any vehicle anyways, so I don't really understand why they couldn't do weaponry or whatever. Like, at least torpedoes would have been nice, at least give it some kind of like player versus player use, especially, and of course player versus enemy make it more useful for player versus enemy opportunities as well. Not that it probably would have really made much of a difference, but still. And then finally, last con I have for the Avisa is it's not good at making money. Since, yeah, I know I didn't show off gameplay of it, but yeah. Should be pretty obvious that's not good at making money anyways. Like, yeah, first one I showed was hidden caches. You can use Toreador, which is also 4-seater, but it also has rocket boost, which makes it significantly faster than the Avisa. That just gives it like 4-door purpose, throws it like completely out the window, whatever. So in that regard, it's completely overshadowed by the Toreador for the hidden caches. Same goes for salvage, and even with salvage, you probably shouldn't even use the vehicle at all. Just use like a scuba suit or something. Aside for those two things, I can really think of much of a like thing that the vehicle's good at without choosing like a very particular like setup for like a heist or like a business sourcing mission or something. And those are just way too particular and very like niche uses for the what uses it already has. But yeah, now that I'm done with pros and cons of the Kraken Avisa, going into the Kosatka with the Cayo Perico Heist. I know a lot of this footage is going on the Sparrow in it, of course, because obviously the Sparrow is very good in tangent with the Kosatka, but to be fair, it is like a renovation with the Kosatka, so I still kind of count it. Plus, you need the Kosatka to host the heist anyways, so I might as well include Cayo Perico Heist at least once. But yeah, it's the new #1 best money opportunity in the game, and you need the submarines to host it. So it makes it like the most top tier vehicle for making money, even if you don't directly use the submarine like 90-95% of the times. As long as you have like a Sparrow, the other 90-95% of the times you're not using the Kosatka, it will make the heist so easy. You can literally make an easy $1 million even with the worst primary target and some secondaries, of course. Like the tequila, and even like the worst secondaries probably make an easy $1 million. Over time, the heist with so many attempts just becomes so easy. That's at least unless they nerf it, which hopefully they don't nerf it, but like, if they were going to nerf it, they probably wouldn't have made it easy as they made it in the first place on day one when they did DLC. But yeah, there is a couple moments where you will actually use the Kosatka, probably if you're doing a certain method efficiently and stuff, besides for purely fast travel purposes. But yeah, for approach vehicles, Kosatka is one of the best approach vehicles in the game. I believe the Longfin rivals the Kosatka is one of the best approach vehicles for the heist. And especially Kosatka is very good if you do the drainage tunnel, because you can have unlimited lung capacity with the scuba suit. You can do drainage tunnel with all the other approaches, obviously, but I don't think you really get the scuba suit. Plus, you start the closest to the drainage tunnel with the Kosatka. So it definitely has its advantages as an approach vehicle for sure. Compared to the Longfin, and even the patrol boat might be kind of up there as well. Which Longfin and patrol boat will probably be the only other vehicles I really mentioned the heist for, because there's no engine upgrades with the Kosatka, so I figure, as well with the ability of it hosting a heist in the first place, needing the vehicle to even do the heist as host, I figured those were reasons enough to talk about the heist, particularly for this vehicle. And of course I might do it for a couple of the other reviews and guides, but don't expect it for every few to several Cayo Perico Heist DLC vehicles if I review any more of them anytime soon. And yeah, that's for using it as an approach vehicle for the finale, which I don't have footage for, because like I said, the finale I was a bit rusty on, because I took a month break since my last finale. I only touched the heist recently, obviously, for this footage. So yeah, unfortunately I struggled since it was a good bit since I last did the heist, but even then I had a real easy time with it, even though there was fuck-ups and I did get caught at the end and all. When it comes to getting it as an approach vehicle for the signal jammer thing, whatever, Kosatka is very good for its own approach vehicle thing. You can fast travel to the location of the other Kosatka. Yeah, you can not skip travel, but fast travel to the other Kosatka, and you can even pilot the Kosatka right above or underneath the Kosatka, and you don't even have to interact with any of the enemies really, and you can just go straight in the submarine, and then once you're done you can go into your own submarine. It was the first time I did that method, so the footage might be a bit rusty in that footage because it was the first time I do that method. Because usually I use the Sparrow to destroy the enemies before surfacing, and I request a dinghy. That's my way of doing it, rather than taking the Kosatka all the way to the other Kosatka. Obviously I use a fast travel, but it's still a decent bit away. So yeah, very good for that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I need to explain when it comes to the Cayo Perico Heist. When it comes to actual uses of the Kosatka outside of fast travel purposes. Which besides for approach vehicle, you'd probably only really be in Vespucci Beach. So you should only have to pay 6,000 or 30,000 if you don't have reduced cost for your first Cayo Perico Heist. But yeah. For the Kosatka, I have 40 pros, I believe, but yeah. I like to explain pros a lot, so I feel if I covered anything in the slightest, I might not go in details this time. But yeah. First pro is that it's very reasonable. It's a very reasonably priced vehicle, for the stock vehicle at least. Like, you only need the stock vehicle to host a heist. Obviously, you might as well wait on renovations till you do some Cayo Perico heists. And I believe if you use like job warps and stuff, you can actually get the Cayo Perico heist done in like under a half hour, I think I've seen. So yeah, if you use like job warps, warp to different like jobs in the game, like job markers and stuff, you can actually do a whole Cayo Perico heist, I believe, in like under a half hour. I think I saw like Gypsy speedrun it before. I'm not sure if he's like the world record holder or anything. I kind of doubt it, but yeah. Regardless, especially if you use job warps, you can get it done really fast, and even without job warps, you can do it in like a little over an hour, maybe even under an hour if you're good enough. So yeah, absolutely amazing money opportunity this vehicle gets. So, for the reason of it unlocking practically the best money making opportunity in the game now, it's definitely a very reasonably priced, putting that into consideration. For second pro, I'm not going to go in more detail with it, but it's the best performing submarine. Third pro for the Kosatka is that it has sonar capabilities, already shown that off. Fourth one I might go in more details with is that it has autopilot features. In a clip I did use autopilot, I was actually beached, since I guess I landed on some like ground or something. But yeah. Autopilot works similar to the Avenger, but obviously it's a like water vehicle, not air vehicle, so it keeps it underwater, whereas the Avenger obviously keeps it in air. So yeah, having that autopilot feature is definitely very nice, especially if you don't want to be vulnerable to like other players in certain PvE situations. But yeah. Next pro I have is it has free snacks, which I pretty much already explained that one away, but still, that's a pro nevertheless. Sixth pro I have is it's the first mobile snacking property. I believe all the other snacking properties were tied to like pure properties, not like a partial vehicle and property at the same time, because it's a hybrid vehicle and property, obviously the Kosatka. Pretty sure it's the first vehicle that does that. Not that's really necessarily that important, but still, it's a very good, neat pro nevertheless. But yeah. Next pro I have is it's usable as a spawn location, which actually I believe it's the first command center vehicle that can be used as a spawn location. I don't think MOC, the Avenger, or the Terabyte can be used as a spawn. I don't think those other command centers can actually be used as spawn locations. This is actually the first one. And yeah, I say it's actually one of the top couple spawn locations in the game now, having a very easy heist that you can make easy millions with. Also has a helicopter for like air travel, similar to like the yacht or even the hangar. So it has some of the most like spawn convenience, vehicle convenience, like travel convenience and all that stuff. And it even has security cameras, and of course it's a usable vehicle and stuff. So I say it's definitely one of the top 3, at least for spawn locations. Next pro I have is it's the first drivable vehicle spawn location. I think I've mentioned that one enough with these other pros. Next pro I have is it's actually a very top tier spawn location, and I put Sparrow in parentheses because that makes a huge portion of why it's such a good spawn location. If there was no air travel, then the like spawn location for the vehicle wouldn't necessarily be all that good. It would be even worse, a significantly worse spawn location if it didn't have the Sparrow. Next pro is as a gun locker. The Pro after that is that gun locker is complimentary. And I put somewhat in parentheses though, because I don't know if it's tied to the weapon workshop. Gun locker could be tied to weapon workshop, though it might be its own thing. But yeah. Next pro Avisa has several weapon spawns, which I didn't really mention them by name, but it should be obvious just looking at the like screenshots and stuff. Because yeah, I was busy going over more important stuff. Next pro is it has security cameras, which I pretty much mentioned practically everything with the security cameras. I mentioned it as like a subtitle kind of thing, but security cameras are really good for passive businesses. You can just go on the security cameras and you don't get kicked for being AFK in the game. Which of course allows your passive businesses to produce while you're not like active in the game and stuff. But yeah. Next pro is that it has a wardrobe, which I don't think a lot of like properties, at least DLC properties, actually have a wardrobe. So if you're in a pinch to want to make like certain outfits and stuff, you can actually do that in the Kosatka, from my understanding. Next pro is it has fast travel capabilities. And yeah, fast travel capabilities makes the heist even more convenient than it would be without. And even without fast travel, the heist would be even pretty easy as well. Obviously, being a solo heist, it would still be worth doing even without the fast travel anyways. So having that is definitely very nice. Fast travel can be reduced to $2,000 is the next pro. 10,000 normally is not much, but after you complete the heist for the first time, it turns to 10,000 to 2,000. Which of course with multiple runs will significantly add up, obviously, no doubt. Next pro is it has torpedoes, pretty much mentioned everything with that. Next pro is it has a periscope. And again, I believe I mentioned it but didn't show it off, but it has like 85-degree like verticality, like vertical range. So it can shoot like missiles way up. It's pretty nice actually. Next pro is that Periscope has great vertical range. Kinda just went over that one again in the previous pro. Next pro is that Periscope can be used as pilot. So yeah, if you pilot the submarine, I'm pretty sure it's definitely a proper term for the Kosatka. If you pilot it, you can actually use the Periscope while piloting it, which is very nice. No doubt on that. And right now, that's the thing I was talking about with the mirror test site, the like Sonar Jammer one, whatever. The Kosatka itself, for its own like approach vehicle mission, is very good. It's probably one of the top couple ways of doing it. And yeah, this was my first time doing it, but I do think using the Sparrow and then requesting a dinghy to blow up all the enemies, and using dinghy as like an escape, spawning it before going in the submarine, or afterwards, is definitely the best way I think to go about it. No, I suppose it's debatable. But yeah. Next pro that I have is it has guided missiles. Pro after that is that guided missiles have insane range for 4,000 meters. Next pro is that thermal vision can be used with guided missiles. All three of those I believe I showed off very well. Next pro I have is that guided missiles have separate cooldowns. Again, I really pretty much showed that off. Very solo friendly, no doubt. Next pro I put is that guided missiles. I'll use it in Headhunter. Which again, I pretty much showed off everything with that one. Next pro is this has a weapon workshop, which I pretty much mentioned everything worth mentioning with that one. But yeah. Next pro is it can be stealth underwater, not the other sonars and parentheses I put. But yeah, I don't think I already mentioned it, but I believe it did pop up actually on one of my clips. But yeah, you are stealth underwater with the Kosatka, aside for like other vehicles with like sonar capabilities, of course. Next pro I have is it can use all weaponry partially underwater. That's not actually one I really showed off at all. But yeah, if you have it where like the Periscope is like just barely like underwater or whatever, I believe you can actually use like all the weaponry underwater. I believe I saw from Gilly Master Project's Homosexuality, or maybe even both of them. I watched a couple of their things about some PvP uses on it. Not some PvP use that it has actually. Next pro I have is it has exclusive access to the Sparrow. If it didn't have exclusive access to the regular Sparrow, not to be confused with the Sea Sparrow, then yeah, I don't think it would be as useful for like spawning property and stuff like that. Next pro I have is it has practically limitless seating capacity. I definitely think I mentioned that one as much as needs be earlier. That's just another pro I'll just be mentioning. And yeah, next pro I have is it has decent explosive resistance, as I shown off. Next pro I have is it has great bullet resistance, which I showed off with the minigun earlier in the video. Next pro I have is it has no cooldown. Pretty sure all my explosive resistant tests were done within like the first minute or two, so if it did have a cooldown, I would have probably noticed it. And again, it might have like a 5-minute cooldown around there, similar to like personal aircraft, since it is a more like useful vehicle and stuff like that in a sense. I think property vehicles like DMLC and stuff tend to have like 5-minute timers. But yeah. Next pro is that allows for requesting a dinghy, no cooldown. Don't believe I showed off no cooldown on the dinghy, but yeah, dinghy does have no cooldown indeed from my experience. Next pro I have is it allows for storing the Toreador, even the Stromberg submersible vehicles, which I showed off like right before the like money making with the Kosatka and stuff. I know I didn't have my Toreador in there, but I do have a Toreador stored in there. It's just a vehicle I use pretty often recently. Next pro I have is it can provide the Stromberg more purpose, because yeah, having a spawn for the Stromberg now that I can get it to be able to go instantly in the water, I think makes it more of a practical vehicle in the very slightest. Not that there's really much of any reason to use that compared to the new Toreador, which basically is all the Stromberg is, but better. But still, there's no denying that it gives the Stromberg just the lightest bit more purpose. Also gives the Stromberg more spawn convenience, again, because of easier underwater access. Next pro, which might be the biggest pro in my opinion, is that it provides access to the #1 solo money opportunity, the Cayo Perico Heist. Easiest way to make millions in the game now. Like literally someone with even like 2 brain cells, which is like the average tryhard and stuff in this game, I'd say. Even someone with like 2 brain cells could probably do the heist, to be completely honest. Even putting the slightest bit of thought in it. As long as they have any sort of big brains whatsoever. But yeah. Second to last pro I have for the Kosatka is it's one of the best approach vehicles for Cayo Perico Heist. And I put drainage tunnel in parentheses, and again, I really pretty much mentioned all I need to with the drainage tunnel. Not that that footage is really probably going to be in here. I don't really think that footage is going to be in this video. Because, yeah, my finale didn't go well, unfortunately, because I was a bit rusty on it when not playing it for like a whole month. So, yeah, I didn't really want to show off the footage of the finale, but at least the sonar jammer, like, approach vehicle thing is in the footage at least. So hopefully that's decent enough to show that it does have purpose outside of like fast travel and being the actual host of the heist. And then yeah, last pro I have is it's one of the best investments in the game, having access obviously to the best money opportunity in the game for solo players in it. It's such a good money opportunity aside for like nightclub. I really wouldn't really mix anything else with the Cayo Perico Heist aside for like the nightclub, because that's like an automatic passive business. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even bother with the bunker or the MC. Obviously, it's more money, but it's probably not all that much worth it. Honestly, you could probably easily be good in the game just doing a very like seldom nightclub sells when it's like pretty much at its max. In addition to Cayo Perico Heist, and of course there's security cameras, so that goes very well with nightclub as well. It's not just because of the heist, because of the security cameras, for example, it's one of the best investments. And yeah, I only came up with like 10 or 11 cons with the Kosatka actually. There might be more, I couldn't really think of more. I tried to think as much as I could, kind of, but yeah. First con for the Kosatka I have is sonar capabilities are paid. I guess this goes for every vehicle, or at least it goes for the Avisa too, where you have to buy upgrade just to use the sonar on that vehicle. So apparently that might be tied to all the sonar vehicles. You might have to get that one upgrade for all 3 sonar vehicles to even use the sonar. But yeah, very annoying considering you really want to get like 75,000 a day out of it, but still it can easily pay for itself. That is unless you're Prime Gaming, because the like main like DLC Prime Gaming thing right now is definitely the sonar capability thing, because that thing goes on for every week since like the DLC is released. But yeah, next con I have is the weapon workshop is paid, and I have arcade in parentheses, because that one you only have to like have a gunman for the Diamond Casino Heist, and you get a free weapon workbench, and you can use it as long as you have an active Diamond Casino Heist, essentially. Not a very big one, but still. Next con I have is torpedoes aren't very practical, which I pretty much already went into those entirely. Next con I have is Periscope requires full lock-on to use, which I pretty much already showed off. Next con I have is it's not a very useful snack property, because yeah, Cayo Perico Heist is so easy, honestly. It's pretty easy not to die once. I know I died on the footage, obviously. But yeah. Like I said, it was like a whole month around there since I last did it, so I was a bit rusty compared to like during the 1.5 times on the primaries I did like a month back or something. So yeah, it's clearly been a while since I really did the heist, since before this like gameplay I did for the review and guide, obviously. But yeah, next con I have is most weapon spawns aren't very useful. I don't really know honestly if weapon spawns are really even all that useful. You can just go to animation obviously and all that stuff. But still, I decided to show them off because they are like small little features and they're there obviously. And then yeah. Next con is it's not a very useful security camera property. Like obviously security cameras are good no matter how useful they are, because they allow you to be AFK without being kicked for being idle. And it's very good for passive businesses. But you might as well go over to your nightclub or your like bunker or some like property with security cameras that actually like uses them efficiently for getting said like passive business supplies and all that stuff. So I think nightclub's still the best property when it comes to the security cameras, but still it does provide some pretty good security cameras nevertheless, just not top tier, I'd say. Next con I have is it's a huge target. Obviously it's very huge, it's going to be able to get hit very easily with the explosive sniper, minigun, you name it. And by the way, I don't think homing launcher can actually lock on to the vehicle, so that's something to keep in mind. I don't think I mentioned that one yet. And then, second to last con I have for the Kosatka is it's the least durable command center vehicle. I believe other command center vehicles can actually like take 20 to 30, like homing missiles even. So yeah, I think like the MOC, Terabyte, and maybe even Avenger as well, I believe they all have like significantly better explosive resistance, when it works properly at least. So it's kind of lesser of the four when it comes to the explosive, like bullet, really any sort of damage resistance whatsoever. And then finally, this one's a very subjective con for the last one, but I put cannot spawn a weaponized dinghy. I don't think it would have hurt if you could request a weaponized dinghy if you own a weaponized dinghy in addition to like the regular dinghy. Because weaponized dinghy is very useless in the game, so I feel having that ability would definitely be very nice from the actual Kosatka, in addition to the regular dinghy. As long as you own it, obviously, it could be like locked until you actually own the vehicle or something. But being able to spawn a weaponized one would be just the slightest bit more convenient, especially when doing Cayo Perico Heist with friends and stuff like that. Obviously more on that vehicle, of course, if I do a review and guide on that. But yeah, that's finally going to be it for this review and guide. This vehicle review and guide, and also kind of property as well when it comes to the actual Kosatka and all that. Hope you enjoyed.